Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our Architect Spotlight of the Shoal Villa at South Bank. We're very, very happy to have you here with us. Those of you who don't already know me, I'll just do a very brief introduction of myself. My name is Courtney Chapman, and I am the New Development Marketing Coordinator for Sotheby's Turks and Caicos. Joining me today is developer and director of Windward, Ingo Reckhorn. Hi, Ingo. How are you?
Hi, Courtney. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, pleasure. And we're also joined by director and architect Gregory Blee of Blee Halligan Architects. Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us. So we are very, very excited to show you a little bit more about the South Bank project today. The intention is that this will be the first in a series of architect spotlights that we'll be rolling out over the coming weeks as a sort of a virtual opportunity to kind of take you on a deep dive of each villa type because this project has really been thought through on a design level. And we'd like to give you the opportunity to experience a 3D flyover that will be hosted by Greg. So we're very grateful to you for joining us. And I would like to ask Ingo if you wouldn't mind maybe giving everyone a brief description of your background and Windward.
Yeah, thanks very much, Courtney. Very happy to be here today on this Zoom call. We all have to adjust to new ways of communication, and the reason we really wanted to do this was that as the architecture is unfolding in its 3D real-life version on site, as we're coming to roof level on some of our first houses at South Bank, we experienced as developers and maybe even the architects that the spaces were truly exciting, the views were truly exciting, much more so than can be assumed from looking at floor plans and looking at renderings. And that's why we wanted to find a way to bring the 3D architecture to the wider world in spite of the restrictions that we're facing these days. So that's why we're doing this series, and we're starting today with the Shoal Villa, which we feel is a truly exciting design. And then we're going through to the other ocean estate homes at South Bank over the next weeks. Just a couple of words about myself. I'm one of the developers of South Bank and have been involved in different real estate and hospitality ventures here in Turks and Caicos for 12 years now. Most notably, or what's probably known to most, was the involvement of myself and the development company that's also now spearheading South Bank in the Blue Key project in Leeward, which we just recently completed with 16 waterfront lots in Leeward on Providenciales. Greg, do you want to say a couple of words about yourself as well?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I don't know who's there, so I'm just kind of talking to myself in this room. But I think the main points that I would like to. I run an architecture business that's based in London and the Turks and Caicos. I think we've always we were the architects. We were bought on island for Blue Key, and we've always, as a team, we've worked together very well for 5 years. But I think the key to why I'm still loving what we're doing is, we don't fall back into kind of the known area, if you like, of design. We're always challenging our preconceptions, challenging what a house on or a villa on this particular island should be and how it should function and how it should look. So we always kind of approach these things from a kind of blank paper environment. And I think that's where it's challenging and sometimes difficult, but it's an exciting process. And I think the key point is this house kind of really captures that essence of really looking at every detail and imagining how the house will be used in the future, and really trying to kind of capture that in architecture. So I think that's really what I want to say, is that this is the first of a few times we're going to do this, but I think I want to just drive home this kind of fresh thinking and design-led approach.
Great. Thank you so much, Greg.
And maybe one more point from my side there, which I should have mentioned previously, is Windward as a design company or as a development company, we have the philosophy that we forge strong partnerships and in different areas of expertise that are required for developing a project such as Blue Key or such as South Bank. And we take those partnerships from one project to the next and what we hope will be from strength to strength. And obviously, Blehelligen has been a very important aspect within these partnerships. Also, our construction partners with JW Construction, our marine engineers, which are also pivotal in a project of this nature, and all the different contractors, structural planners and engineers, MEP engineers. These are all companies that are very well-known entities to us and will help us to take South Bank to the same quality level, if not a higher quality level than what Blue Key is today.
Certainly. Thank you for that, Ingo. And I just wanted to add very briefly before we get going here, for the attendees, if there's anything that you'd like to ask any of our panelists about, we're joined also by Nina Siegenthaler and Joe Zom, lead agents for South Bank. So if there's anything that you'd like to ask throughout this process, please just write to us in our chat and we will do our very best to get back to you.
We have our Shoal Villas, which is the point of discussion today, which Greg will highlight to you in a second. This image really also shows the unique relationship to the water in our Ocean Estate homes that are located on the Iron Shore with the Serenity Pool and the access through the Iron Shore to the water. But Greg will highlight that a little bit more in a second. Just one more point briefly before I hand over to Greg. I just wanted to outline where we stand right now on our sales, reservation, and construction timeline for the different neighborhoods. We have our launch over here. We are showing 7 reservations here. We actually just received an 8th one last week. So we're one step closer to our goal of 15 reservations before we start construction on all 38 units, including the pool and the entertainment area in the center. Then we have our lagoon area. We have 3 villas sold and 2 of them under construction currently already. And the 3rd one will start construction by Christmas. And then we have our Ocean Estate 1, which consists of 10 villas, 3 of them are sold. The 1 Shoal Villa is under construction, and the Ocean Estate 3 and 4, which is a Shoal Villa and a Bluff Villa, will start construction in the first quarter of next year in January and February. And then we have 1 villa, Ocean Estate 16, which is under reservation, scheduled to close by the November 20th stamp duty concession deadline, and scheduled to start construction in January as well. So between now and January, in addition to the lagoon construction, there will be a significant uplift in activity on site ongoing. So with all of that being said, I wanted to pass on to Greg to highlight our Shoal Villa now. What Greg will be showing you is a 5-bedroom Shoal Villa, which is roughly 5,500 square feet. And it is currently listed just under 5 million in terms of the price point. And without further ado, Greg, take it away.
Thanks, Ingo. Okay, so behind me, this is the first sketch we ever did of this particular property. So it's just worth, this is a bit of a kind of history element. So the important thing to note is what we've been really striving for is this visual connection between the landscape, the Iron Shore environment, and the architecture. So it's not like a white box plonked on the side of the ocean. It has a kind of synergy, and there's some. If you care to look at Jorn Utzon, who designed Sydney Opera House, he designed a house in Mallorca that called Canlis, which was a real inspiration for us as architects, because it has a combination of understanding about where it sits and the language, if you like, of nature and the experience of living. And it's a kind of really key, well, it's an amazing building. So one of the best houses ever designed as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to show you this, right, wait a sec, technophobe, on, share. Does everyone see this? Okay, so this is obviously the approach of the house. I think there's just a few things I want to highlight, which took a long time for us to kind of uncover. One is this unique cladding material. It's a porcelain tile. I went on a week-long trip to Italy, or pour me, to look at every conceivable different type of tile that I thought might fit this particular location, the quality of the light, the coloration of the iron shore, the almost white gray element to it. And so this was selected over a number of days as being the best example. So the external of this building has this slightly bright grayish hue, which sits really elegantly in this landscape. And we have a panel of it down. Before we signed it off, we got a panel made so that the light quality, the quality of light in this particular location, playing against it, we just wanted to make sure it was totally right. So this is an incredibly robust external facade material, which will last a lifetime. So that was a key point. I think the other point to note is, in some ways, this building is quite unusual looking. You know, we've really tried to balance the kind of architectural experience of this building with what we feel would be appropriate for this kind of Caribbean environment. So I think, can you see my cursor here? Yep. So one of the main architectural moves is we haven't treated this building like a box with rooms and accommodation in it. We pulled the building apart. So we've created these pockets of outdoor space actually within the heart of the building. So it doesn't work like a normal house whereby you go in through the front door, then you go out through the back sliders and you're just out in landscape. This is totally knitted into its environment. That's a really key point. So we're going to move from this image into the fly-through. If I can get this to start. So as you approach the building, I want to go pause it right here. And I think this is a really important moment, is that we try to bring water and the theater of water into the building as much as possible. So the idea of reflected light bouncing, dancing across a building, I just think is an absolutely delightful, it's a very simple experience. So on approach, there's a reflecting pool at the base of this window, and a really kind of contemporary cantilever on the building, which kind of juts out above it. So at night, there will be this really beautiful play of water in this zone as you approach the house. So and as you move towards it, you come up a few steps past this reflecting pool and into the foyer. And the first thing you're aware of is the way that this external courtyard, which has been generated by pulling apart this building, is right in front of you. So you have this unfolding space, if you like, of being inside to outside in this contained courtyard environment to into the grand room and then outside again. So this idea of layering, it's quite an architectural kind of idea, but nothing is standard or as you expect. This is about an unfolding kind of story of a building. As you walk into it, you experience in different ways, different times of day, different times of year. It will feel very responsive to its location. So as you come into the foyer and you come round, you're greeted by the dining room and the kitchen, which is a big open plan space connected to the grand room to the side here. But there's some little subtle design elements that we've really enjoyed, which is there's a couple of steps down into the kitchen, which allows this this feeling of, of two spaces, if you like, but it's in one volume. And it also allows us to go from to an 11-foot ceiling in this lower space. So the ceiling height is really key to kind of give that feeling of space and the kind of grand sense of this entertaining space. As we move around, we come into this rendering. So I just want to highlight, I'm going to pause it here. Oh, a bit late. you know, this is about creating really exciting entertainment spaces. And I just want to kind of highlight the linkages, if you like, the spatial linkages. So we're going from, you know, a kitchen environment with a breakfast bar to the outside where there's, not in this rendering, but there's a covered dining space. You're looking across from the inside internal dining room into the courtyard, which has a dining room kind of quality, but without a roof. And then looking through into the grand room, which has glass front and back and connects to the two terraces. So you can imagine that it's a totally flexible environment for entertaining. You know, it can be adaptive to however you feel like. You could close it down and make it very, very intimate. You could open it all up and make it almost feel like an outside environment, or you can manipulate, you know, the conditions by leaving the glazing at the ocean side closed and opening up the courtyard. So you'll get the breeze, but you won't, you know, it's that adaptability that we've really tried to bring into this design. I just want to point out a couple of other things. You know, the staircase, we're doing a kind of feature stair with the first 3 flights are lit and cantilevering and in a different material to the rest of it. So we're trying to bring in some sculptural objects as well, like making a staircase, not just a staircase, but something that's beautiful in its own right. And obviously Ingo will touch on this, I'm sure, you know, the quality of the kitchen fittings. This is highly contemporary, very high-end Italian kitchen, which really kind of sings, if you like, or with the architecture. And I'm just really happy that we've managed to kind of get that level of quality to the fixtures and fittings. So then we pan around again and experience this view inside outside, you know, true inside outside experience with this, what we're calling a dipping pool. So this allows you to dangle your feet into the water in the evening, allows you to have a little bit of a cooling off moment almost within the house itself. So I just want to kind of highlight the fact that from every space, you have this connection to water is really, really key. And that kind of, as I said before, the kind of theatrical quality of water, I think very important for me, especially if this is a house on the ocean. It needs to really harness this quality of light and quality of the water. So then we spin around and enter the courtyard. Above your head, there's a hardwood solar shade, which just provides a little bit of shading to the internals here, but also provides that kind of dappled light quality. You know, in the center of this courtyard, we've got a tree, and combined with this solar shade, you're going to get some really nice lighting in there. It's not going to be like intense Caribbean sun. It's going to be somewhere where you can sit out and enjoy yourself. Not, you know, it'll be a space that you really will use, I think. And as you spin round, you'll see this kind of quality of unfolding space and interconnectivity of these various functions. You know, the way that, and I love in this house the way that it's not, there's no kind of boxy quality of rooms. Nothing is left over as like, you know, afterthought. It's very much kind of like, how can we maximize the quality of space and the connection to the landscape and the ocean at every point possible. So you, at every room in this house, you have a strong connection with the ocean. That's the kind of point of it. And then we go upstairs. You know, typically a corridor space is a kind of dark, relatively unloved, inconsidered space, but this is not one of those. It's got floor to ceiling glazing, looking down into the courtyard, looking through into the grand room. We've got this frame view of the ocean right in front of you, and the master bedrooms to the left and to the right. And we swing around. Another little moment which I really enjoy is, let's take a moment, is this double height space on entry. So when you enter through the front door past this pool of water with its cantilever, you're going to come into this very dramatic double height space. And we really want to kind of harness the potential drama of day-to-day living in this house. So you come round, and then we're going to kind of fly down the corridor into the master bedrooms at the front of the property. Oh, here we go. So this is the kind of, we've tried to capture in these, where we spent a lot of time trying to capture the qualities of light and orientation, and trying to really try and understand how it's going to feel to be in there. So, you know, this is all set up correctly, geolocated, so that, you know, this will be how it will feel on a day-to-day basis. And as we're here, we might as well point out, you know, this is the view through the courtyard space to the master bedroom. This kind of permeability. Obviously, we have curtains and blinds, but the reality is on a day-to-day basis, when everything's opened up, it's going to be a very kind of permeable house where you look through spaces to the outside. You never go and get faced with a blank wall experience, which no one wants. So we move down the corridor into the master bedroom. And, you know, we've really opened up this space to the ceiling. We're following the line of the, and there's a rendering. We followed the line of the roof. So you get a 13-foot high corner, if you like. So this is a really kind of grand space as well. Floor to ceiling glazing, looking out onto this balcony. These little moments of kind of inside outside wall, I think, are really important. They create a kind of sense of enclosure, but also protection from the elements as well. And down the right-hand side of this particular room is a really generous ensuite and a closet next door, and then this view, this window back across the courtyard with the tree in the middle, which will be lit at night. So it'll be, you know, have some kind of theatre as well. So we're going to come to the outside of the building. We see these kind of low, shallow pitches which soften the architecture, and then down into the entertaining spaces again, and across into the grand room. And I love this. Let me go back a little. I love this space because of the fact that, you know, you have water one side and floor to ceiling glazing, and on a really good day, when you open up both the glazing to both the front and the back, that's going to feel like an outdoor space. You won't have the feeling of being like in a room. You'll be underneath the kind of canopy and looking out across to the courtyard, which I think will be a really charming kind of moment. And then swinging around and looking at the amenities on the outside, we've got these two pools. So this is the main pool, which kind of runs along the face of the building, but also with a little walkway, a cute little walkway that kind of cuts through it, that allows a path to take you down to the ironshore. Then the main pool, which we're calling Serenity Pool, which is got an acrylic sheet end. It's so you're going to have a total connection between swimming in this pool and the landscape, and this pool is actually cut through the ironshore. So you're going to get this kind of elevated. It's kind of slightly weird when you're on site. It's really dramatic feeling of being hovering above the sea. Coming down to the end, we've got a decks which are tucked in into the landscape, so they're protected from the breeze and places that you'll want to sit out for a while. And then we swing round again, and you'll see some of the other little moments that we've created, which isn't on here actually. But there's Ingo showed this image at the beginning. So there's an ocean deck on this side, which is, you know, I went to site last week and hand spray painted the location of this, which kind of nestles into the ironshore. Those are going to be totally unique to each property type, based on the topography to what the landscape's telling us, if you like. And then this terrace on the right hand side just drop below the level of the landscape to offer you a little bit of protection. And the other thing to note here is this solar shading device, which is, you know, is a concrete structure, so it's totally robust and provides dappled light for the outside dining experience here. And there it is.
Thank you so much, Greg. That was great, and really, really wonderful to hear it from your perspective. Really helps to sort of piece it together, and that's speaking from someone who's been down to the site a few times, and it really helps to kind of bring it all into focus.
Just want to mention two things briefly. Obviously, we only highlighted one of the bedrooms here really during the fly-through, because we just wanted to avoid too much spinning around. This house features two master suites that face the ocean upstairs, and then two further bedrooms which are seemingly garden view / courtyard view bedrooms on the rear, and one on the ground floor. But when walking through the construction as it unfolds, you really realize that every single bedroom has some sort of a partial ocean view or a fantastic ocean view in its own right. And that was really surprising for me, and a an aha moment, if you will, as the construction came up. Then the second thing, which is something that that Greg touched on briefly earlier, was the quality of fixtures and fittings that we've been able to assemble here for South Bank in general, but for this house also specifically. One is that we've been able to find a kitchen manufacturer that is one of the leading kitchen manufacturers in Italy to provide us with design services, as well as obviously the manufacturing, the shipping, and then the installation of these kitchens. We've also been able to source all our vanities through the same kitchen manufacturer. We also have a partnership now with a lighting company called Floss, which is one of the leading architectural lighting manufacturers globally, that provides both inbuilt lighting as well as design lighting. Like, for instance, these pendant lights that you see here, they're from a manufacturer that's one of their sister companies called Louis Poulsen. And we're very happy that we can take advantage of this partnership as well. And then all the inbuilt closets that we have at South Bank on the Ocean Estates are manufactured by the furniture maker B&B Italia, which is at the end of the day the mother company of Arclinea, as well as Floss, as well as Louis Poulsen. And the partnership we've been able to forge with these leading design brands will allow us to elevate our overall quality at South Bank to a new level for the islands. We're very happy about that.
It's really wonderful, Ingo. Thank you. So, if anyone has any questions.
I do. It's more of a comment than a question, but I think, you know, for those of us who are deeply involved in this, there's just always something that we learn in doing these walkthroughs, and it's a revelation, as well as we think we know these spaces. Again, to kind of hear your voice, Greg, you know, talk us through it and then pick up on certain details is really, really helpful. And I think one of the things you said early on today was that, you know, you really see these spaces unfolding, which almost implies that there's something hidden to discover. But what is really so incredible about these designs is the amount of glazing and openness throughout, in conjunction with your idea of really discovering the spaces as the design unfolds. So I really want to thank you for that, and really appreciate you doing this.
Thanks, Nina.
Greg, do you want to exit the share screen so we can see the faces?
There we go.
Thank you.
And I do think we should video you spray painting the sites for the decks.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I mean, it's
Graffiti.
important. It's a very important thing, that, because, you know, I'm kind of down there, you know, I'm not a kind of, I'm physically connected to this, and, you know, there are lots of little decisions that we're making as we go along as well. And that could, to some people, sound like disorganization. Why haven't you made that decision? But actually, sometimes you need to experience, you know, you need to see the house sitting in a landscape before you can make a decision about something else. So we're tweaking as we go along, which means that each one of these, I think, will be more special and more unique. You know, I think you're going to have a different experience in this lot to the 1, 2 down, just because of the tweaking of the design.
Definitely. I had a question, actually, Greg. You mentioned with the staircase that was sort of a unique feature. Mm-hmm. And it looked like when we were going through the fly-through that there were 2 different materials that you may have used there. Is that right? Is the lower?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, so we've got a kind of timber tread section, which is the section that you don't see in the room, if you like, and the lowest 4 treads, which is very much part of the dining room. We really wanted to kind of elevate that, so it didn't just feel like the staircase was kind of coming down into this. We needed to make it more sculptural. So those are clad in a kind of white almost, it's not actually Carrara marble, but it's a kind of a version of that that has a kind of high-end marble look, and with some good lighting and some little details so that they appear to float. I think it's going to be something that's attractive as opposed to something that, you know, people could say detracted from the space.
Okay, and I'm just looking to see here if we've got any questions. Do we have any questions from our attendees? If not, we'll wrap up here momentarily.
I want to thank Greg and Ingo and Courtney for putting this together. And I know from my perspective that integrating Greg is really, really helpful with understanding the unique selling propositions of the various designs that they so inspiredly put together. So thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it looks like there's no further questions at this time anyway. But of course, we're all available if there's anything that you think of after this presentation. And I will be sending this around as a recording, so you can, you know, pass this on and review it sort of at your leisure. I'll also be following up with unbranded materials for you all, so that you're fully equipped to, you know, talk from a place of expertise about this beautiful design in this project. And we'll hope to see you all again. I'll be sending out a formal invitation, but we're hoping to see you all again, possibly on the 9th, to discuss the Dune Villa. So very much looking forward to that. And thank you again, Greg. Thank you for being present with us. And thank you very much, Ingo, again for your time. And Joe.
Looking forward to
And
next
I love the
time.
black background, Greg. Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.